Hi, you can call me Oilano, and I can't believe I'm giving you this stuff for free. This one took a long time, too. Uh, Today, we're covering the law, not the idea or concept, the law of gender across divine creation. And, when I describe to you how the creative process is performed by the divine, you'll have a better understanding of how we're playing here as humans doing our human things. Okay, so more stuff that no one seems to be teaching each other, and it leads to problems like this because, I guess some places on the planet still have the problem we did a few years ago with public bathrooms. There's a moment before COVID when the media suddenly had all these stories for us. People having social issues with public toilets. Comedians had all these new jokes and a bunch of sitcoms threw in their 2 cents too. And it's like, where'd that confusion even come from? Okay, hold on when I say this. Hold on. What really happened was all of a sudden we evolved. Okay, and two measly genders. Okay, wasn't enough anymore for humanity's creative space here. No one told us it was coming. We all woke up one day and there were people with new gender identifications, and what they did is they started to explore the new ideas that flooded down to us because we passed an evolutionary threshold. So it's a little late, but congratulations, fellow humans, on transcending the two gender system. I'll keep telling you guys, no one's coming down here and telling us when we evolve. We have to look back and, kind of grade ourselves. The expansion of our genders as a species meant we outgrew the old. So now we have an entire spectrum where before we just had black and white, not even gray. Right? Separation isn't real. It's an illusion in the way that all the dividing is done within the same single mass of material. Okay, remember that teams look like they hate each other on TV, but it's one league, and they're going to shake hands at the end of the match and get paid from the same pot. Part of being human right now means we forget oneness upon showing up here. Nothing can separate you from the rest of this infinite existence that's made of you. You're a critical part of the all. And we're going to learn how to work with this reality that you're already hooked up into. And it may begin with understanding how gender works into creation. My last video, I started to tell you how everything in creation has a counterpart. Our writing styles, print and cursive are counterparts, where print's masculine and cursive's feminine. Our bodies play the gender roles all by themselves. Okay? We have the hormonal counterparts in estrogen and testosterone. And this leads to all the physical differences and some internal characteristics. And I'll remind you in this message that you are not your body. No one is. You're just a higher mind that haunts it and animates it. Your body is for your soul's expression into the 3D. So it's a tool for art, where the life you leave behind is your medium. So how many people do you think live their entire lives without ever seeing it as art? It is. So let's fix that today. Your life, when it's done, is to the larger art project that is humanity, that is part of this universe's expression. And somewhere there are entities watching our lives unfold, and it's beautiful to them. I don't know if anyone ever told you that. I'll read stories, right? But I don't do religion. Everything I'm giving you, I've actually learned on my own. But Hinduism seems to agree with me pretty close here. They teach that it all begins with one source. Okay, this oneness divides itself into three beings, and they represent the divine genders. So we did okay for a long time with just male and female humans, but there's this hidden gender that's always been there. If you're going around filing people by male and female, like we've done for thousands of years, you continue to miss the truth about ourselves. Um, this is a good one. Is God male or female? Okay, and that's the bad question. Um, God would be something that you don't even point at until it's both sides of itself are present and functioning together properly. So using the words male or female should tell you right away that you're talking at most 50%, half of the all that would be God. So I don't know, you can continue that argument somehow. Uh, our creator is feminine. To create is feminine. Our clue is in the fact that women got the womb. Feminine side creates in the divine. Feminine is the star. So I'm actually starting with masculine, but I wanted to establish that before anything, feminine is the star. To sustain, to support is masculine. So think of pillars. This is for the divine. To sustain, support is masculine. So yeah, think of pillars or a strong frame, a good healthy skeleton. But what would energetic support be like? You got to think of the positive emotions that motivate. These are acceptance, allowance, appreciation. Those are the three main masculine attributes, along with gratitude and trust. These are the main ingredients the feminine side requires to create alongside her. And you're going to understand when I start telling you more about her. If you're using the masculine method to manifestation, so here we're going, getting back into counterparts. The masculine method to manifestation, this is attraction. You need to figure out how to tune yourself internally. Okay, if you're riddled with repetition in your life, okay, if you're in a rut, can't seem to climb out of, you keep attracting the same kind of people to your life, you got to do what you can to change your inner stage, your inner arena. It's like this. If you want basketball, okay, but there's a baseball diamond in your heart, okay, you're attracting baseball players. This is a big key to the masculine side of manifestation, to attract from within. So how would a masculine tune himself? Masculine decides who he is every day. He plays a part, convinces the universe who he is. Not so much the other people down here through everything. You know, when no one, what are you doing when no one's looking? You know, the landscape will reflect his projection. Our problem is that we don't have an app or anything to tell us how we're being perceived by the divine feminine. We have to just become more aware of ourselves and think, and what am I projecting with my thoughts and the emotions I choose. I don't know if this helps, but a few generations ago, you know, women used to generally prefer a well-groomed man who looked good without a shirt, because it insinuated that the man chose himself over and over again, rather, you know, over time, you know, because these things take time, you know, rather than some slacker wimp. So like, yeah, strength, education, work ethic shows that a man, masculine side, improves himself. This is important because feminine side values commitment because she wants to perform on a stage or for an audience that won't disappear or reject her when she's halfway through. The dark side of the masculine, the ego, says this is an attempt at imprisonment or control. So a weaker man, so project that down onto humanity. A weaker man runs from a good thing. So I'm talking energies here. You'll understand in a minute. I'm not picking on genders or anything. So masculine is like the stage and sets himself up to attract the perfect feminine energies to perform a show with him. No one performs alone. Okay, masculine by himself would be an empty movie set, while feminine alone would be a jobless actor. Many of you are probably wondering where the men are that carry the divine masculine attributes, and the truth is, you shouldn't be able to name many. It's been intentionally scarce throughout humanity. This planet's been running on the energy of the dark side of the masculine, the ego, and someday I'll tell you why in a future video. But not a feminine. If feminine is the star, which it is, masculine is everything she needs to shine. So feminine is the act, the story being told on stage, while the masculine is the stage props and comes around the audience in the dark. The type of show the feminine will perform depends on the traits and characteristics of the stage. This is how the masculine asserts his control. Okay, not like the ego, barking orders, binding contracts, playing victim. Okay, the masculine side, by going in himself and changing his inner self, will limit the type of show that can be performed on him. Okay, it's a huge key to manifestation. You're not going to have a circus with dancing elephants on a little 16 by 16 stage in some dive bar meant for open mic night. Okay, you're not going to play bingo at Burning Man. Okay, enough drugs is okay, but it'll make anything good. But the feminine is to be appreciated for expressing herself through the masculine when it happens. She only performed what the stage allowed, nothing more or less. So the masculine comes back around as the audience and feeds gratitude. It could be praise, flowers, buy some merchandise on the way out. That's all gratitude. And this means masculine to leave a tip. Hint. So in the divine, feminine searches, while masculine is seemingly unmoving. The feminine form of manifestation would be to chase and hustle. That whole thing where someone will apply for a job, accept a place at the bottom, then claw your way up the top. This is feminine because you're working the structure. Get it? Okay? And sometimes it works, like in the military. But I'll tell you that this planet, it runs on ego and politics. Feminine is selective. Feminine shops. How many comedians, when humans evolved out of survival-based marriages, we outgrew the habit of men chasing skirts, even if we didn't stop it right away. It was always backwards, dating like that. Outgrowing it is what it really led to the spike in divorces in the 70s, when it was inconsiderable before that. Masculine isn't supposed to chase, just attract. But fear forces the masculine into motion, and that's when bad things happen. And I'm talking about energies again, but it came through us, it came through humanity in that form, okay? Because a guy these days getting hell bent on bagging a certain female in particular, with the laser focus, that's just creepy now. It's obsessive. decades ago, this is what worked. Um, oh boy. And you ready for something really scary? I don't know how, if you guys are, into this, or if you're, savvy or not. But if you could build something perfectly enough, here in the 3D, you can make it so it could only house the higher energies that it's built, that you're building it for, the intention. All right, so Feng Shui, kind of gets this, trying to rearrange your living space, to maximize energy flow. But I just explained to you why the buildings and the photographs, and when they say, Tartaria, I kind of just told you why they're built the way they work, is to work with invisible energies, to attract, they would build their roof a certain way, or have little ornaments and designs, and they're trying to attract energies. And so they knew what they were doing. Hospitals are built with logistics and liability in mind, okay? Healing temples are designed to only allow healing energies to flow through the halls. And this is a secret, the Freemasons. They knew how to, to build with this intention, while your home is just made the cheapest way possible, with just your your drywall squares, white paint. Feminine energy makes a house a home. Think of it that way. But things work better when the feminine side chooses where she wants to do her thing. Masculine just needs to focus on himself until he's selected for something. All right? Pickup lines, that's just salesmanship, stuff like that. But this is one of the many, many reasons our politics don't work anymore. To chase and pander for votes is not masculine, and it's not feminine, because there's no selection process to gathering the votes. You can't alienate people. That'll ruin you. So, the election process demands people pleasing, and this isn't what leaders do. This is what salesmen do. So, our little Donnie is a salesman, and we asked him to lead, twice now. We're already equipped to create in more aligned ways. The habits flow through us, and whether we realize it or not. We just have to integrate the truth about ourselves. And here's another big secret. The third divine gender. So which one are you? You think you're masculine or feminine. You may look down for your answer between your legs, but this doesn't work for us anymore. We outgrew this. We're more complicated now. Truth is, no human is 100% in either direction. By creating this video, I'm being energetically feminine right now. As children, we look to our parents for the inspiration to decide who we want to grow into. As children, we are new, but our parents have been here for a while. So it's an entirely different role, because a child comes in with the other two sides already established. So look around. We have masculine and feminine. But if everything's already created and set, how is there anything left to wonder about and choose things? Okay, this is where you come in. You are the thing in infinity that can't be sorted by this divine gender. Our bodies represent a gender, but the spirit inhabiting all these bodies does not. Okay? We are forever the child, looking to both sides to decide who to emulate in our situations where there's really no wrong answer, only style of response. So, human, to us, gender is not a rule, but an option. We choose. And this is scary to those that thought being a master of either gender was an automatic given because of the genitals. They thought, it was easy. No, being good at anything takes work. Okay, this includes, being a master of the gender you're born with, or gender you even want to be. The child gets fed. This is your job in the divine. The child is the devourer. So you're represented by Shiva. This deity can be found satisfied or extremely irate. And this could be symbolizing that changeable partnership with the surrounding physical world. Maybe Shiva shouldn't be depicted in the same always. Shiva reacts to the world, and then her next offering will reflect Shiva's vibration, the next thing that comes in. Shiva has to learn this. We all need to learn more internal emotional control, and do not confuse this with suppression. What's being devoured? Life experience. The child is here to experience what the universe has to offer, what the parents created for it. And this is only getting more complicated, so I had to make a visual. Here we go. And I'll explain my symbolism here too. Oh man, this is big. Is it in there? So yeah, got your source here, and it breaks up. I got the solid for masculine, this kind of immaterial circle for feminine, and the child is actually, because there's actually four. Inside the child, there's four genders, and because there's a dark side to each one. The ego, the dark side, the masculine. I don't know. I think there's a fancy name for the dark side of the feminine, but I just been calling it the small feminine, because utilizing its mindset keeps you small. Okay, it's one of the four main mindsets in the childhood universe. So one of them you can pick from. It's masculine. The other one's feminine. The other one's small feminine, and the other one's the ego. And yeah, we keep picking through these. You just chose one right now, judging me throughout this video. The small feminine is the voice that tells you to just stay in for another night, convinces you to play safe, causing you to potentially miss out on good things. This is the voice that keeps telling you you're not qualified, you're not tall enough, you're not this, you're not that. So don't try. People pleasing and self-sacrifice is small feminine. These things just add up to keep a person small. Even though the explanation is always, taking one for the team or doing something simple because no one else will, it doesn't get anyone anywhere, and actually enables those around you to be lazy. It hurts everyone around you. So, where divine feminine wants to express itself with all the freedom in the world, the small feminine wants to bind herself with excuses. Where the divine masculine can seem stoic, but appreciative and grateful, the ego is dismissive and runs around in terror. The ego rejects what's given to him and blames the outside world, rather than admit he has to change himself to see the world the right way. Ego loves shortcuts. It responds to every problem with emotion and kind, when many things are capable of fixing themselves over time. This voice fumbles a lot as it tries to look better and appear more useful than it really is. So there are those that'll tell you you need the ego and the small feminine, but this doesn't mean to ever listen to their advice. Mastery would be to hear the voices and select the best route for yourself after weighing everything. And so yeah, the answer is not always just whatever makes me the most money or popularity, leverage. That's what egomaniacs always choose. And I'm gonna draw something on top of the that four-way thing I just showed you, and I screwed up the square. Um, I'm gonna show this to you again with the little added thing with the four minds. I put it's supposed to be a square, triangle on top, circle in this one, and X down here, because to make it feel like a video game controller. You're always clicking one at a time. And that may be one of the reasons that these controllers feel so comfortable in our hands, because you're already used to deciding from four things at a time to get through things, and solve puzzles and all that stuff. So that's just more about that. So yeah, because no one ever told you that that's what could be inside all of us. Ego hates the idea of trans, thinking someone's trying to deceive it. So this is why the suits and lawmakers are having problems with it. Think you're all spies. The most frustrating thing about the ego is that it loves to lead. Okay, it loves to lead the most, while it's by far the least equipped. Okay, so this is the voice that does sales pitches and gets us into trouble. It's the devil on your shoulder. So, how many genders are there? Because now it depends on the context. What are you talking about? The all up here has no gender. Creation, has 3 if we include ourselves. 2 if we're exploring what's been made for us. There's 2 genders. 4 genders if we're talking about the inner family in every child who to emulate in your life. And this is where I got to point out that the dark sides, they're not in source. They don't show up until the child is created. You get the shadow. Okay. That should be important to you. That it's not out there. It's only in us where the shadow version is, the immature version is. Okay. So now that you can maybe understand better, how the universe responds to us, we can realign with the story that's supposed to be told through humanity and ourselves as individuals. Maybe now we can understand better how the universe provides for us, and we can start getting what we really want out of life. Everyone wants to be wealthy, but if you don't know, you're telling, what you're telling the universe, you don't know what you're getting. So I want to say, change yourself today, change what you receive tomorrow. It took a very long time to tell you that last line so that you'd actually understand it. So there you go. The genders and pretty much the power of knowing how to use them. I just gave you a lot of secrets to the universe right here. If you like it, click it. Subscribe for more secrets, free secrets to the universe, and please share me, because I do not know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to share myself. I don't know how to promote and stuff. I don't know. Social media, I'm sorry. I was learning this stuff instead of doing that. I just know what I'm telling you in my messages. So, and I just, like the masculine thing, I'll just trust. My next video will actually finish this lesson in gender. I got to explain duality through the yin yang and show you how that's changed because we evolved. It now represents you, a little more better than my doodles here. But yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be shorter than this one too. All right, Orlano's done. Much love. Thank you and good night.